Hey guys, how you doing? So the Pure Scholar experiment continues, I guess, and you guys are in the experimental group, and that means you guys are the ones experiencing Pure Scholar, and I know that you're just going into the assess phase, and so this is where things get weird. They don't get weird, but I mean they do get weird based on, I think, the conventional experiences you've had at school, and again, part of our whole goal here is to kind of get your reaction to this unconventional experience we're going to give you. And so the unconventional part starts with the assess phase. And essentially what's going to happen in the assess phase is you're going to log back into Peer Scholar, but when you do, you'll see instead of the create box lit up, the assess box will light up. Click on that, and the first thing you should see are the instructions. And the instructions will reiterate some of the things I'm going to tell you right now, but they will also include 3 short videos that will really prepare you for the task at hand. Now, what is that task? That task is giving feedback to your peers. You are, in a sense, going to be the teacher now. Put away that student stuff, flip on over into the teacher role, and in a sense, you're going to have a number of students. I forget what we agreed on. I believe it was 3 or 4. So when you log in, you will see a number of peer tabs, and you click on them one at a time, and under each peer tab, you will see the work submitted by one of your peers, one of your fellow students in the class. Your task is to read each of these carefully and one by one to do 2 things. The first one is to give some positive feedback to that person, and the next one is the challenging one, is to give constructive feedback to that person. And you're going to do this for each of the peers, whether there's 3 or 4. Again, I cannot remember exactly what we chose there, but let me talk to you about that a little bit. Again, the videos within the instructions will really help you kind of understand, and they will focus especially on constructive feedback. And constructive feedback is so challenging because even though you're trying to help this person, you're trying to give them a sense of how their work can be better, if you word things wrong, you're really just going to tick them off. You're going to make them upset, emotionally upset. So part of what you're learning here is how to communicate in an emotionally better way. Especially when you're trying to help somebody improve. You need to say things in a way that are supportive while also highlighting areas of potential improvement. So that's the real challenging part. But let me first talk about the positive feedback. When you give the person positive feedback, what I want to ask you is to really try to be specific. Don't just say, your work is great, right? If someone says to you, your work is great, that feels good, makes us feel all warm and fuzzy. But there's nothing specific that we know, like what's great about my work? What should I continue doing? If you can highlight something specific that you like about each student's work to begin with, and be clear, I really like the way you, used examples or whatever it is, and highlight that specific thing, because then the person will read it and go, oh, cool, that worked out well. I want to keep doing that, okay? Excellent. But the constructive feedback is the challenge. And again, all those videos will help you. And while you do that constructive feedback, what I hope you'll appreciate a little bit is, in order to do that well, first you have to read the work carefully. I call that receptive communication. You have to learn how to really get in touch with what that person is saying to you. You have to combine it with critical thought to try to find areas of potential improvement. Then you have to combine it with creative thought, because I don't want you just saying, hey, I didn't like the way you did X. I want you to say, okay, you did X a certain way. Here's another way you might consider that might be even better. And so it's not just about pointing out flaws. It's about giving some clear idea about how those, well, let's call them weaknesses, could be improved, could be strengthened. And so you need creative thought to come up with that. And of course, you have to communicate this all to your fellow students. And you have to communicate it in an emotionally sensitive way. So that's expressive communication. That's what Peer Scholar is all about, is giving you exercise using these skills. And you'll use them each time, for Peer 1 and Peer 2 and Peer 3. And so you're getting repetition, almost like you're in the basketball gym shooting baskets and doing the same thing over and over, except what you're doing now is thinking critically, thinking creatively, communicating, etc. Okay. But again, this is, it's an experiment. It's fun. Certainly don't let any of this stress you out. In fact, I would encourage you to kind of enjoy it, kind of think, oh, I get to be a teacher for a little bit, and I get to try to give these people the kind of advice that I would love people to give me, the kind of feedback I would love people to give me. I'll just let you know that in the third step, you will see the feedback that your peers are applying to your work. And we're going to ask you just to answer some questions about that feedback. And so, that's the full circle. Here you're giving feedback, and that's very important. But learning how to receive feedback and learn from it is also very important. That'll be the next step. And maybe I'll be back doing another little video like this. But I just want you to kind of, feel cool about the assess phase. Go in there, have some fun, try your best. And as you're doing it, kind of ask yourself, is this a cool educational experience for me? Is this something I wish there was more of? Or maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't want to bias you in any way in that respect. But I'd like you to be thinking about it a little bit, because we're going to ask you some questions about it at the very end of your experience. Okay, cool. Have fun. And I look forward to seeing how you react to all this. And maybe I'll be back for the reflect phase. Okay, bye-bye.